Hello and welcome to Sparking Conversations interview series. I'm Alexis Moon and this is the beautiful Rachael Greany. So, is that how I say that right? Greeny,
You did.
Grain. Oh my
You
God.
actually said it 100% correct. Most people will say Greeny. I find the educated people say Grainy. So there you go.
I'll take that.
Woo, woo.
So, we've already been having a bit of a conversation. So, I'm trying to calm down a little because I'm quite excited. I found someone that I really, really, really click with, and I most of the people I talk to are amazing. So, it's just calming myself just a little bit so we can dive in. So, Rachael has her business Dragonfly Blue. Sorry.
Perfect. Yes.
Dragonfly Blue, and it's all about the getting to the root cause of, what we experience in life, and a lot of it is around trauma. So emotional issues, anxiety, depression, addictions, and yeah, so she's amazing. So I would love for you to jump in. We've already been discussing this, so I just want to hear it all again. And we'll just chat about, what it is that you actually do, and just explain a little bit of, going to childhood traumas and, what we experience as adults, we can carry with us for, forever if we don't address it. But quite often our bodies will tell us, if there's stuff going on that we need to look at. So this is where you kind of come in, isn't it? Where you just go, yes, let's dig into this and
Let's do this. Exactly. Exactly. So I guess for me, uh, what got me started on this journey several years ago now was I had done so much healing myself, and I thought, and then but I couldn't find anything that kind of really got deep down, because I knew
mm,
there was stuff in all those layers, but I could just never find someone who got me there. And I had some amazing counselors who were just beautiful, who did so much work with me. Still that stuff. And the older I got, I found that I could control the conversation. Like if a counselor or someone was taking me somewhere I didn't want, I could change it.
mhm,
So I could just keep avoiding what if they got too close. I finally found basically it's like a regression therapy, and I had a few sessions of that, and the snot and the tears and everything was just coming out, and I thought, wow, this took me years and years and years to find.
mm,
I really want to bring this to the community,
mm,
to be with people, align with people who are at that point in life where they go, I've had enough. I need to change this. I need something to make myself a better person. Now, often we go through that, but we shrug it off because we don't really know where to start. So
mm.
I've done studies, I've been working with people, and now I'm just like, I just want to get out there full steam ahead. And it's like that. Oh, I know this now, so everybody has to know it.
Yeah.
Um, and so you get really excited. Now, it's not for everyone because
Mm,
unfortunately, I do think there are people who like the drama in their
mhm,
life, and
yeah,
and that's very true, but it's also because that's how they identify themselves,
yeah.
and we don't need to identify ourselves, we don't need to be labeled with.
Mhm,
So I've been working with people over the years who have addictions. I've been working with ladies who have had trouble being pregnant, or not so much getting pregnant but going to term. So
mhm,
we've been able to uncover, a lot of the times it was just the overwhelming issues of, oh my gosh, can I do this? And so we worked through that. I've now got a beautiful granddaughter, oh, not granddaughter, I shouldn't say that, goddaughter in the world,
mm,
who was just, she's just my world. She's so
mm,
beautiful and happy. And her mum is now experiencing the beautiful chapters of child rearing. And it's
mm,
lovely to see all through root cause therapy. So a lot of the times we don't know what it is that's holding us back. We just know, we get to that point. Why do I keep attracting the same people? in my life?
Mhm.
Why do I get so far, but then there's that hurdle, I just can't get over it. I just can't seem to keep moving forward. That's where I was at. I
Mhm.
knew that I knew there was a part of me, how I acted, I didn't like, but I wasn't understanding why I couldn't shake it off.
Mm.
So it was getting to the really deep stuff where when you're working with your subconscious, it will only allow to come up in a session what you're ready to cope with.
Mhm.
But with each session, you go deeper and deeper. And clients will often say to me, I had forgotten all about that, or I didn't would be able to talk about that.
Mhm.
But we hold such a safe, non-judgmental space. And that's really important. People need to know you've got their back,
Mhm.
not that you're going to judge them or criticize for what they may or may not have done in a previous life, or
Mhm.
what I did 5 minutes ago or what I did this morning, I
Yeah.
can't change.
I don't even remember what I did 5 minutes ago.
No, and
I was
I'm
talking to you.
on the other side of menopause. I don't remember half the time even what my name is. But um, but we that saying, a leopard can't change its spots. I really don't like that.
No.
Of course, they were born with spots. That's their skin. But when it comes to humans, we
Mm.
can change. And when you are supported, and when you know that you're on the right path, we can change. We change all the time. You
Our
know,
bodies are designed to change. Like we're constantly replenishing new skin cells, organs, like everything is always changing. But because you can't see it, or in that moment, because it's such a slow process, our eyes can't actually capture how much that change, like everything could be happening amazingly inside. We can't see it on the outside, so it doesn't even register. So when you go through these changes, it's like, I can't see it, so it doesn't make any sense. And if I can't see it, then my brain says it doesn't work.
exactly. Hun,
Mm.
that is perfectly summed up. That is absolutely beautiful. And if I could remember that, I would use those words.
I'll give you the recording.
Awesome, and I'll memorize it. But that's exactly right. And people just think, oh, this is my lot in life. This is the way I was born, or this is, it's not true.
Mm.
We can change. If you want to change something in your life, whether that be your anxieties, your addictions, like a gentleman I was working with, he was in the foster system at such an early age. His parents were drug addicts. His mum died quite young. He was on the street at 14.
Mm.
He is the most remarkable human being because he came to me with drug addiction. He had done so well all of his life, but something quite major happened, and that's where he turned. This gorgeous human being, he's held down jobs, he's raised families, and he knew enough that, Rach, I'm at a position in life I don't want to be. I don't want to be like my parents. I need
Mm.
to change this. So we were able to dive really deep, and in a few sessions, I think it was about the third session, when the session started, I could tell he was just beaming. He was so excited. And he goes, I've been a month clean. I've not had alcohol. I've not had drugs. I feel fantastic.
Mhm.
That's not to say we had to dive deep and peel some ugly layers away.
Mhm.
But if you can stick with it, and if you can go, this is for the good of my human, and this is for the good for, in his case, his children. He needed to be a better person for his children.
Yeah.
Just to see the transformation was beautiful. And for me, it's very humbling that someone trusts me enough to be part of their journey in healing. It's
Mm.
just truly beautiful.
Mm. That is wonderful.
It's amazing, and I get so passionate about it. I could talk about it forever.
I
um
love to hear it. So, but we will have a time limit, only because, I don't think YouTube likes things going for hours on end.
exactly, hun, and you are the professional in this, so you need to pull me up and change the subject, because I will just talk forever, because I just am so passionate about what I can do and how I can help people. I just want it out there in the community, and I want to be able to help as many people as I can,
Mhm.
knowing that some people, it's not for everyone, and but
Mhm.
that's okay. That's quite okay. We all have to find what works for us.
Yeah. So I'm curious how you came. I know everyone's got a story of like the stuff in their past, and you know, what actually put you on the path to healing, like if that's something that you would like to talk about. Only
Yeah,
because I'm curious, because for some people it's not until their 50s or 60s that they go, hang on, I've got all this baggage. I'm not exactly happy with the trajectory that my life's going. I need to do something about it. And then they start, following on different, going through different therapies and different modalities, depending on who you are and where you are in life. I'm just curious as to, like, for me, I've been on a spiritual path since I was a teenager, but it wasn't until after my children that I actually went, I have to dig a bit deeper. Like, and like we're constantly going through and peeling layers and changing things and looking at things from a different perspective because we're always changing. But
exactly.
it wasn't until my kids, because I'd shut everything down. I was like, no, shut it all down. My kids actually kicked my butt and got and kind of went, if I want to be the best mother, and for me it came down to being the best mother, then I want to be the best person I can possibly be for them. And I still have days where I was yelling at my 17-year-old yesterday. I'm like, this is not the kind of person that I want to be, but also having that acceptance of this is where I'm at. You're triggering the fuck out of me. It just, thank you, child. And then sitting with that and going, okay, this is what's going on. This is how I'm perceiving you. And then we actually had a conversation. It wasn't just me yelling at him, but it was interesting that our kids, honestly, for me, have been my biggest teachers among a lot of things. But my kids have been the catalyst. They are the ones that actually went, you have work to do. You can't just close your eyes and not see what's in front of you and what's actually hiding inside, because inside is where you really need to look at your shit.
Hallelujah, hun. And you know what? I am not a mum. However, children trigger you because
Mhm.
they're bloody mini me's. They are just, you are looking at yourself going, look, you little.
I know, right? And because I can see it with my husband, my eldest they just constantly, and there's so much friction, and we're in such a tiny house, and to have them constantly one on top of each other, it just constant blow ups, and I'm just like, no, but a person has to be ready to actually see things as well and be willing to have those conversations. And I'm not the person to push anyone else. I
Yes.
just have to walk my own talk. And that's not always easy, but I've been doing more of that. And because I can see my son's going to leave home next year, I want to actually have a relationship with the adult him
Yes.
at some stage. Right now, it's hard having a teenager. I have two in the house.
Oh my goodness.
So, because the other one's 14 and he's starting his crap too. I'm like, I love you, but leave me alone. Just leave me alone. But for me, that's been my catalyst and my trigger. But where for you, going back to you, because I want to know more, where did this start for you? Like, is there a pivotal moment in your time? Was there a stage in your life that you were going like, this is stuff that's happening? Well, please share.
Yeah, it was, hun. I was quite rebellious and
Mhm.
opinionated as a young person. Go figure. My gosh, if ever my family listen to this, they will be in hysterics. They're like, "Oh, really?" But what it was for me, it was um, alcohol was a big thing. I was a party girl. Like, as much as I am an introvert, I love to drink because I could then become this fun person. And I around the early 30s, and I remember having a conversation with my mum, and I was just in tears, and I said, I don't want to be this person anymore. I don't want to be loud and obnoxious. I've always been in managerial sort of positions at work, and when you're a manager, you're not liked by many people really. And
Mm,
I had high standards. So looking
mm,
back, I'm not very proud of sometimes the way I've treated people. So all of these things started changing. I started changing. I didn't want to be the party girl anymore. I didn't want to be the work person that upset people or, was always driving to get the most out of people. And what I think is the best standard isn't
mm,
always what everyone else thinks. And so I was really at a crossroads and at a turmoil going, who is this person? Who do you really want to be?
mm,
And I realized I wanted to be a better person in so many different areas of my life. So I needed to work on that. And there was a lot of tears and a lot of snot and a lot of frustration, a lot of times out in the bush hugging trees, a lot of
mm,
times swimming in the ocean. And I would just go down deep and I would just scream my head off. Because when you are changing, it
mm,
can be volatile within yourself, but I knew that I was on the right path. That gut instinct just went, Rach, keep going. You
mm,
are getting to the person you want to be. Now, we are human, so I still will get triggered. And I actually love getting triggered by people now because then I think, hang on, just take a breath. And I actually
mhm,
just put my hand on my heart and I close my eyes and where am I feeling this? And then it starts to unravel
mhm.
why this person triggered me.
Yeah.
So I know that I've still got that little bit of healing to do in that area.
Mm,
We're never going to be 100% healed. We're never not going to be triggered. But whether it's your children, your husband, your friend, your work colleagues, when someone is triggering you, just smile because
mhm.
really they're showing you those areas that you can still work on.
Yeah.
And that's, to me, that's a beautiful thing. It might not be in the moment
Oh no.
because you are like, "Rah." It is. So, yeah, so my turning point was knowing that I didn't want to be that person anymore. I wanted to change. I wanted to be nicer. I wanted to do better things with my life. So that then took me down the path of different counselings, different meditation therapies, and every therapy I tried did have some positive impact.
Mhm,
It wasn't until I started on the path of a regression therapy, which basically is root cause therapy, because we are going deep into where are the issues. Like, yep, this is the tree of me, but
mhm,
let's dive deep into the roots that are dug right down deep in the soil. That might not just be things in my life, they could also be things from generations
mhm,
that have passed, and we're carrying that. So I had to dive deep, more snot, more tears, but then I had that aha moment. I found that therapy that got really deep, that really didn't give me a choice but to face it. There was so much in my subconscious that still needed to unravel, and I needed to see it.
mhm,
I need to go back to that time. I needed to understand and basically witness those events that have formed my way of thinking or formed my emotions, formed my traumas, whether it be big, little, or small trauma. It's still trauma.
mhm,
So going into the event, seeing it, feeling it, but then coming out of that event and looking down at the person I am now, seeing that little girl, being able to go down and love her and child healing. My gosh, it is so emotional and heavy, but at the same time, it's so freeing.
mhm,
Now, I don't think a day goes by where I haven't got that little Rach with me. And we look at each other and she'll go, you got this. And I'm like, yeah, you got this. Let's do it together. And we'll hold hands and we'll face whatever it is together. And I now have goosebumps. But that's what we do. And there's no point saying, oh, children are resilient, it doesn't matter, or, oh, they're just kids, they'll get over it. No, we don't. We hold everything. And when we start going deep, and we're going back to when we were 2 years old, or for some of my clients that I've worked with, they're actually picking up this trauma from mum when mum is carrying them still in those pregnancy times. And sometimes even myself, I've gone back to generations way back where I can see things have happened. And it just blows my mind. It's so amazing. And people come out of it and they're just like, whoa, that was heavy. Because they're seeing it, they're experiencing it, but they're then putting a different light on it. Like I always say, you know, that time when you were little and for a split second you were lost at the shops and you couldn't find mum and you thought you were lost forever. It might have only been a minute or 30 seconds, but we then have lost, losing loved ones. The attachment is how we thought in that split couple of seconds of being lost has impacted us. Whereas now I can go, as an adult, I look down at that event and go, oh, Rach, mum was in the next aisle. You weren't really lost. She could hear you. So you don't have to fear people leaving you. You don't have to fear abandonment. And we put a different understanding on that. And that's when the penny starts to drop and the layers start to come apart. It really does blow us right wide open.
Yeah.
But the juice is worth the squeeze if you just keep going and
I
you
love
let
that
those
saying.
so do I just love it. You really do get there, and that's why, yeah, a leopard might not be able to change his or her spots, but we are constantly changing. And when you can see it in yourself that something's not quite right and you want to go deep and you change it, that's when we dive in and we change it.
Yeah. Something you said, funny enough, I've been playing with my oracle cards this morning, and one of them was Whale, who's the record keeper. And it was talking about, you know, even picking up those traumas from the womb and like, you know, how your parents felt about what was happening, what was going on around you at the time. And as the little baby, you're sucking all that in, like everything, like, yeah, because it was talking about the double heartbeat that you, as a baby, you're hearing your own heartbeat and your mother's heartbeat. And it's just, you know, really bringing that all together. And I find that absolutely fascinating because we don't really consciously think about that. It's not until you take a moment and go, oh, wow, that's possible. And I can see that. And touching on, you know, say when a young child is lost and they feel like they've been abandoned or, you know, can't find mum, it can also turn around where you have gone off on your own, you're playing, you're quite happy, and then your parent comes to you and they're frantic because they're like, I couldn't find you, you know, where were you? And just you were fine up until that moment, and then your parents then project all their lovely stuff on you, and you would have been perfectly fine if the parent had just going, okay, let's go. But because they had such a heightened emotion and they were quite agitated, you know, worried and, you know, fearful's a big one,
Oh,
then they've
yes.
then just kind of come in and like, oh, my child, and you've just been this cloud of stuff. You just sucked it all in. And you were
Absolutely.
fine up until then.
Up
And then
until
you
that
go,
point.
I will take that baggage with me. Thanks, Mum.
And exactly, and this isn't ever, we're never parent bashing,
No.
because you know what, even whether we're parents or not, we've all had some degree of interaction with children. We have all given those children good and not so good of our own reactions. And we, like
Hmm.
what you said is perfect. We see it all the time. A little one falls over in the park.
Hmm.
They're just about to get themselves up and dust it off. But mum or someone being the protectors rushes in, and next
Yeah.
minute the child starts crying.
Yeah.
They would have been fine.
Yeah.
Now, is that a bad parent? Of course not. Of
No.
course not. We always do what we were taught or what we think is the right thing.
Mhm.
And with the womb, I have had clients, one lady in particular, she always felt something was missing. She just never felt whole. In her therapy session, she actually went back into the womb and realized that there was a twin. She
Mhm.
was one of a twin.
Oh, I
And
just
she
got
was able,
goosebumps.
yeah, she was able to converse with that twin, and that twin said to her, I had another place to be.
Mhm.
You had to stay because this is your lot. This is why you're here. This is your purpose. My purpose, I had to go, but I'm
Mhm.
always with you. And after that, it just made such a profound impact on her that this is why I've always felt something was missing, but
Yeah.
I can let it
Twins,
go now.
that's a biggie. That's
Massive.
like losing a limb.
Yep. Yep.
Wow.
But being able to now, she went back into the womb, she felt it, she experienced it, she understood it, and then
Mhm.
coming back out of that event from this approach, now looking down, she
Mhm.
understood. So
Yeah.
she could give blessing to her twin, knowing that that twin had a purpose somewhere else.
Mm.
So there's just so
Beautiful.
much, and it's not saying how people should or shouldn't feel. We're all different. It's just focusing on you.
Mm.
What do
And
you need to understand?
And that's a biggie because when we look at the culture that we live in, there is this focus, and especially if you're in the healing, spiritual kind of arena, everything's about everybody else. What if you're going to serve, you need to help everybody else. But then we have to be reminded that you need to fill your own cup up first, and you need to look at your own stuff first because you are not really in the best place to help anyone unless you can help yourself first. And it's not about being selfish, it's about self-care. And the focus, I mean, nothing is ever black and white. So there will be times when people can not be in the place to help anyone else because they have to go internal and they're being forced to look at their own stuff. But then there's other times where they're, floating along and they can help other people, but you've got to maintain a little bit of balance because otherwise that's when we crash and burn.
100%. And it's like we've all flown, or most of us have been in planes. My dad, no, because he's terrified. However, what do they say? Fit your mask first.
Hmm.
Yes, of course, you're going to want to make sure your loved ones are okay. But if you can't breathe,
Hmm.
you cannot help them.
Yeah.
And it was also growing up, it was like, oh, you're a poser, you love yourself. And you would be taunted. Whereas
Yeah.
now I'm like, you have to love yourself. If you
Hmm.
don't know the standard of the love, how can you then accept full love from somebody else?
Yes. And that's a huge topic too.
Mm,
Because there is also this idea of, yes, if you love yourself, then you're up yourself and you think you're all that. And that's, especially being Australian, we've got tall poppy syndrome. Is like
yes.
people want to, as soon as you start getting up, you know, you're too tall for your britches and things like that. And you go, hang on, that's your idea. That's your perception. What am I doing to you to make you feel like that? And
Mm,
because everyone is always, projecting their own ideas onto other people. And it's not until we actually can take a step back and go, oh, so I reacted to that, or, how can I actually respond rather than, just being reactive to everything? Excuse me. And I got frozen. Darn it. So the internet is crappy. Oh, good. Thank you. You came back.
yes, I'm here. But
Yes.
no, you're 100% right. And also too, when those people are saying things to you,
Mhm.
you're their mirror image, so they're
Mhm.
seeing something in you, and it could be like you're doing really well, or you're constantly on social media and so they're begging you for it. It may
Mhm.
be because they don't have the confidence to go and do it, so you're showing something in them that they need to heal. And I always thought being triggered was a bad thing, whereas I said earlier, being triggered for
Mhm.
me now is a good thing because I know, oh, what's hiding under there that I need to go in deep and have a good hard look at and work out why.
Yeah, and it takes practice too to kind of pivot a little bit, because I know for me, I used to sit in, I get angry or upset or whatever the emotional turmoil storm, whatever it was that was, going on. And I'm very good at holding a grudge. I've learned to let things go now. Well, for the most part. Because I know there's always stuff that we like to hold on to. But there would always be this idea of oh, now my brain's just gone. No. What was I saying?
With holding on, and it just made me think of an incident like, for
Oh, good.
example,
You can carry.
in traffic.
Yes.
Like we're in traffic and someone takes a right away, whoa, 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 and we get all angry. Now, how long does that anger sit with you? It sits with you for hours. It takes
Mm,
hours to transmute out of your body. Whereas, and don't get me wrong, if something like someone the other day took right away off me and I got a fright because it was so close,
mhm,
and I beeped the horn quite loudly. Normally, I just breathe and I'm like, okay, I don't know if they're just being a twat, or
yeah.
are they in a rush to get to someone who's dying, or their child at
Mm,
school's had a bad accident. I don't know.
yeah.
I've done stupid things on the road before because I wasn't thinking. So I
Mhm,
have to give them the grace. So
yeah.
now, majority of the time, rather than me getting angry, I let it go.
Mhm,
And then I'm not taking hours of getting all boiled up about it. And why should that? It didn't kill me. I'm okay. My car's okay. Everything's fine. They may have something that's not okay. So I
yeah.
can let it go now. So again,
Yeah.
it's coming back to the being triggered. And why hold on to someone else's issues and getting yourself all worked up? Your anger's in your body, it's doing horrible things to your system, to your energy. We have to find ways to deal and let it go. And sometimes we do need to say, I'm going to allow myself today to be cranky or sad or upset, because
Mhm,
it's emotions and we're human. We're going to
yes.
make mistakes. We're going to be overly emotive. That's okay, but don't beat yourself up,
Mm,
and understand what harm holding on to those negative things are doing to you.
yeah, because a lot of some of the most uh, words are escaping me today. Some of the most harmful things that we can do is actually holding on to that judgment. My understanding is the judgment actually locks things in. So as soon as you have an experience, if you allow that experience to actually flow through and the emotions to flow through, so emotions being like water, we allow it to flow. As soon as we have judgment in that or non-acceptance, our we actually lock it all in. And that's when we go, we're not letting go, we actually hold it on. So when we can move into acceptance, that's when you can allow, instead of having the dam and everything kind of locking things in, you actually allow the dam to just gently break and just flow on.
And
And I realized when I'm on a bit of a tangent and then my brain goes, I just go, oh, let that go. So whatever that was, yeah. And
exactly.
not judging, like, because sometimes I do that. I'm like, yeah, okay, that was finished for
Exactly.
me.
Don't beat yourself up. Who cares? If it's important, it'll come back, and you can share that story another time. It just doesn't matter.
Mm,
We hold on to so much. We really do. We hold on to so much, and at the end of the day, you are truly blessed if you have shelter, if you have food, if you have people around you that love you and support you.
mhm,
We can deal. Like, the older we get, when something happens, just stop and think, I've been through worse. I've made it this far, and I'm going to keep making it. So again, be gentle on ourselves, be understanding. And once we start doing that with us, we can also then do that to others. And
yeah.
just let go. Like when you were talking about the water, one of my
Mm,
things is when I find I'm getting really stressed in my mind, I'm in, the old blow up tires, the
mhm,
tubes when we were
yep.
kids.
Mhm,
I'm in that, and I'm just going down my creek, my favorite little creek when I was a kid. I'm just floating down that, and I'm just letting it go because I can't. If I try and fight upstream, I'm
mhm,
exhausted. I can't do it. sometimes we have to fight, of course. Like, I'm not black and white. Everything I say, there's going to be a time when it does or doesn't work. I appreciate that. That's life. But if we can go with it as much as, and like you keep saying, be the water, go with the flow, let go, try and let go of as much as we can so that we're not keeping that trauma, keeping that hostility in our body, in our nervous system, because it doesn't do us any good.
No, it's like drinking poison. It's like what they say about hate. You know, if you're hating on other people, or, you know, having that judgment, you turn it back on yourself, and you're holding on to that stuff, and then so you're feeding yourself the same thing over and over. And of course, that's why people, well, not the only reason, but, you know, that's why people can actually make themselves sick, because they're holding on to this stuff that just does not work for them.
Exactly.
Going back to my story, okay, back, I realized, so with the pivoting, so I'll go back to it, the pivoting, so you start to change where you actually were looking. So I used to hold on to things. I'm better at letting go now, but I'm still work in progress, and that's fine. But I have noticed the length of time where I could be angry for hours, or, you know, having that tension. And so the incident with my 17-year-old yesterday, it was kind of a mini blow up, but it wasn't like the biggest blow up I've ever had. But then I was able to kind of really, really quickly turn around and go, hang on, I could see what's going on here. And I go, oh, that's a growth moment. I was so excited because I could actually see what was happening, and I wasn't living in it as long as what I had previously. So, and then, you know, being able to shift that and actually remove my son from the environment that we were in, and we went outside. And it's a lot easier to talk outside because you have the fresh air, you have the trees, and then just being able to have an actual conversation. So I thought that's, to me, is all about the pivoting and looking at things differently. And now my brain is blanking out again. So thank you.
The really important thing too is, because you are growing and you are healing, you are also passing that on to your son, because he is seeing the change in you as well. Children or people in our environment, they pick up how we behave. So the fact that you can now start to let go of that and process it a lot quicker, he will take those skills and learn it as well.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Because the way he is at the moment, he's a real little asshole.
But weren't we at that age as well? I certainly was. Oh my God, I gave my parents grief. But this is the whole
Yes,
thing.
I do remember getting a slap from my mother, and my mother is not violent at all. And I was an absolute bitch to her. So I can honestly say, yes, I don't recall the details. I just remember that there was that incident, and there was a couple of wooden spoons broken when I was a teenager. So
Oh, yes, yes. Yeah. My mum's choice of weapon was a stick. So one day I grabbed it and I graffitied it, and I wrote, like, I drew pictures of bottoms and ouch and sad face. Like, yeah, this is my bum imprint from where you whacked me. But you know what? And you know, like, even my mum will go, oh, I felt terrible looking back at those times. Oh, let it go. Like, we have a beautiful relationship. I have a great relationship with both my parents. Let it go. They did the best that they could.
Yeah.
Was it always right? No. And was it, each child is so different, but you know, that's life. Just start letting it go. And that's where, you know, for me, like you said, what got me onto this was the whole root cause. Is you dive so deep, you actually, here is an opportunity to let go and learn and change from your life experiences, but from all of those people leading up to how you're actually here on this planet. And then everything that you change and heal, you're also changing and healing for everybody that's yet to follow in your footsteps. You're changing the way your sons will behave when they are adults. They will reflect. And
But he's hoping.
absolutely, hun, but they have to find their way as well. But at least
Yeah.
you're modeling different ways of handling things, and that's how they're learning. They're learning in their environment. Well
Yeah.
done to you. That's amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Welcome.
That's something my counselor said. Have you congratulated yourself today? I'm like, no. Have you celebrated? I'm like, no. Oh, yes, today I did.
Yay!
And it's, having those changes, especially working with someone over a period of time. And then, when he would ask me something, say last year to only a few months ago, I'd be like, yes, I did celebrate that, whatever it was. I'm like, and, being kinder to yourself. And that's a massive thing because,
Yes. Yeah.
I have very high standards and my family know all about it. But because I have very high standards, we start with ourselves. And I have very high expectations of, what I can do, what I should be able to do, and learning to actually soften that and go, well, are you listening to your body? Is your body actually up for all of the things that your mind thinks that you can do? And when you tune in, your body's saying, hey, actually, I'd really love a rest day, or I just want to have a hangout right now, rather than go the 100 miles an hour that you like to go.
Exactly.
just
And
just
don't feel
chill.
guilty. Just do it.
No.
Don't feel guilty because, like we've talked about previous,
Mm,
put yourself first, and then you've got more in the tank to help others.
mm-hmm,
It's not a bad thing. We need to, and this is where we need to start teaching all the people and the children coming up from us is it's not a bad thing.
mm-hmm.
There's a difference between bone lazy and
Yes.
taking some time out. And you know
Mm-hmm.
what? There's nothing wrong with it. You just got to do what's right for you.
Yeah. And that's all about listening, isn't it?
Yep.
Mm.
100%. What? Sorry, what'd you say? Exactly. Yes.
Mm. All right. On that note, we'll wrap up because otherwise we'll continue forever. So Dragonfly Blue.
Yes.
I'll pop the website. Is it just
Dot co.
dragonflyblue.com?
Dot co.
Dot
Yep. So
co? Yep.
dragonflyblue.co.
Yep.
Yes. On Insta, on Facebook. So yes, and there's links there. I also, people want to learn more. We have a 20-minute free consult, so there's a calendar there. You can book in a time, no obligation. If it's not right for you, that's okay. But book your 20 minutes. We can have a chat further
Mhm.
and just explore and go from there.
Beautiful. All right. Well, thanks everyone for watching. If you got this far, because we could continue all day. If you
100%.
if you love hearing these stories and learning some amazing wisdom, there will be some more things coming up, but I'll be sharing this on YouTube, and I hope, yeah, you guys get some little golden nuggets. I got a lot, so yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you for the time. This was amazing chat. Thank you so much.
All right, catch you guys next time.
Bye.